Wow, this is such a full circle moment for me. I studied at the University of Pretoria many years ago, and today I am back delivering a guest lecture to the master students of strategic management. It is truly an honor and a delight to share a bit about my business journey and what it's truly taken. This institution has been instrumental in shaping the entrepreneur that I am, the businesswoman that I am, and holistically the resilient and unstoppable woman that lies within me. I'm looking forward to it. Let's go inside. To envision that it all started in the summer of about 2006. It was open day at the University of Pretoria, and I was with my mother and a good friend of mine coming all the way from Rustenburg, the township of Kabane. When I got here on campus back in the times when I was in grade 11, I knew Tuks is where I wanted to be. Tuks was also convenient, just about an hour and 30 minutes from Rustenburg, so I knew it would enable me to be close to home, but still focus on the education that is required. I come from a family that truly didn't have much, so the opportunity to get educated was a gift that I grabbed on with both hands. Grade 11 was open day. Matric, I made sure that the grades would be sufficient enough to then pursue my studies at the renowned University of Pretoria. I got accepted. How delighted I was to know that I have made it and would be able to study at this institution. It was tough. My mother is a risk taker. She's the type of woman who doesn't have the full plan sorted out, but she'll have what is required. And little did I know then that all she had was enough for registration to get me here at the institution. The rest, she would find the way forward. Luckily enough, I was also accepted at RES. I studied at the Claradane with Dr. Leroux. And when we got to Claradane, what a joy it was. I was a Valpy. Are there any Valpies? Do they still do Valpies in the room? Okay, it's Dr. Leroux being the Valpy. But I was a Valpy. And I remember sitting in that line, getting ready to get our uniform. And I don't know if they still have those cultural practices here in varsity, where you then still wear your attire. We wore these black skirts and these yellow shirts. It was awkward, but it was that induction that was needed for one to be in university. The pressure I felt the pressure. When you look around, coming at that time, Rustenburg was a small town. And you look around, children come from different universities. The exposure that they have had is immense. And I started suffering with the imposter syndrome. Do I deserve to be here? Will I truly make it in this institution? Having heard the rumors that go around about being in university, that it's only the brave who survive. UP will put you under pressure. I hear there are many acronyms nowadays that they use for the university. But I was steadfast and I had this vision and dream that I want to live a meaningful and impactful life. And if I grab hold of this opportunity, anything is possible. I'll be honest with you, it was tough. It was tough trying to figure out how would one make it in the first year of university, particularly the financial strain. I then was committed to look for a bursary and was truly grateful when Telkom, in my end of year studying, offered me a bursary to continue with my studies here at the university. Oh, what a relief it was. In my first year of being in this institution, I learned the importance and the value of being unstoppable. Today, in our address with you, I want to share a glimpse with you about my unstoppable journey that started right here at this institution. the perseverance, the determination that said to me, irrespective of where you come from, when you have that vision at your foresight, and for me, the vision was to see the world, to travel and make an impact of my life. When I got to university and Clarendon campus, I saw a sign in the hostel that said secondhand textbooks for sale. When I saw that sign, I knew I couldn't afford brand new textbooks. They were too expensive for me. I saw the sign for secondhand textbooks. There was a whole list. I knocked on the door. A lady opened the door with a big smile. Hello, hi. I introduced myself. My name is Kefilwe. And she said, what are you looking for? This book, I've got them. And then we tallied up the price. And I was honest with her that I actually can't afford it. And she looked at me and said, what's the price that you can pay? I negotiated a good deal with her. And not only did she give me the secondhand textbooks, which were still in immaculate condition, she gave me each and every one of her previous study notes because she was a year ahead of me. Little did I know that that one encounter, opening that door, would open me to a whirlwind of opportunities. She once came into my room and noticed that I had actually painted an aeroplane on my laptop and then put a picture of myself in the aeroplane. And she said, Kefilwe, this is so funny. And I said, I'd never been on a plane, but it's my vision to be on a plane. And she said, you are going to visit my family and I when we go to Durban, and it's going to be your first aeroplane experience. Ladies and gentlemen, who is that lady I'm talking about? Dr. Leroux. Yes, yes. Yeah. And I am telling you the truth. First aeroplane experience, Dr. Leroux. Yes. It was a mama I made it moment. She made it so special for me. You getting the window seat, Kefilwe. This is the full experience. Quick story, when I got to her home in Durban, Catherine uyakhuluma ubwa Zulu. I know nothing of Zulu. So watch this. I'm speaking to her helper in English. Catherine is speaking to Sizulu in Sizulu. And I'm like, yeah, Catherine, you're going to need to teach me Sizulu while I teach you a little bit of Setswana. And that's the value. That's the value of the journey and the people that you meet along the path. Yes. Yeah. The depth of my passion has been in communication management. I studied my master's degree in communication, but how this passion came about was I realized a big gap. A gap in a path where many people think that just because they can communicate, they are effective communicators. But that is not the case. This is a natural skill that we build and we learn it as we go along. But to truly master it is a game changer. It is one of the skill sets that from a young age I developed. And when I got to university, I also saw the disparity of those who had not been exposed. I remember a fellow race mate of ours was an engineer. And engineering students have a final year exam where they have to deliver a presentation. And no matter how intelligent she was, she truly struggled to articulate herself. So she approached me in Clarendon and said, Kefilwe, I hear you are a public speaker, an effective communicator. Can you coach me? I had her in my dormitory room there, coaching her. And that's when I started realizing that this is a skill set that needs to be developed, not only with graduates entering the world of work, but also with professionals. As I moved into the business world, remember that bursary I told you about? Yes, I had to make sure that I paid back by going to work. When I got into the big corporate world, I realized that leaders were not leading with impact. Leaders were not clear about their strategic deliverables, what is required of each and every team member in the organization. As a young graduate, I found myself so inadequate. I'd arrive at work at 10 o'clock, but by the time it was 11, and trust me then, we didn't have no hybrid world of work. You had to be at the office every single day. I'll be honest with you, it was a drag. Work was lifeless for me. And I started realizing while I was in corporate that something is missing. Leaders need to be equipped on how to lead, how to build meaning and purpose amongst each and every one of their team members. I used my skill set and my talent to then found a Toastmasters club in the corporate that I was working for. The Toastmasters was my escape from the mundane and boring attributes of work. At Toastmasters, I'd be helping professionals who were stuck in their careers, asking themselves, I've been working in this organization for the last 5 years. I've had no promotion. We are in a tough economy. Back at that time, it wasn't in President Cyril Ramaphosa's economy, but it was tough, and people wanted to elevate. So in the leadership and Toastmasters club, I would coach individuals, encourage them before going in for an interview. And I remember one day sitting with my sister, coming out of a Toastmasters club and saying to her, even if I never got paid, this is what I want to do. I want to help individuals unleash the greatness that lies within them. Because it is only when people are operating at their optimum that they provide value in organizations, in their communities, and most importantly, in the country, South Africa, that we are living in. So I sat with my sister there, who unfortunately couldn't join us today. She's got a bit of a cold. And I was sitting at her home and said, something needs to be done. There's a gap when it comes to human development. And my sister and I at that time, she said to me, Kefilwe, how about we start a company? I was only 25 at that time, 24 to be exact. And I was like, what? Us being entrepreneurs? I can't see it. And she said, we can do it. Let's be steadfast. Let's be focused. Let's outline what the problem statement is. And for us, the problem statement was the gap in human development. Human development from your graduates who are entering the world of work to leaders in organization. And later on, we found to also entrepreneurs. We didn't know where to start. Thought about my mother there, who takes the little that she has and says, how will I make it work? And we looked around us and said, there's a community not too far from where we stay. It's in Olivenhout Bush. And there are so many young people who have no hope. They are unemployed every day. They have nothing to look forward to. How about we help these unemployed youth with a work readiness program? No sponsor, no partner on board, just two dynamic sisters with a vision to impact people's lives, with a vision to break the cycle of poverty, with a vision that says to them that we have been exposed. How do we expose others? We had nothing. All we had was our skill sets. At that time, I had just completed my honors degree, so I had the strong academic background, and we put a manual together. Little did we then know that if you're going to host a workshop of this magnitude, you need to make sure you feed people. You can't expect people to concentrate from top of the morning at 9 o'clock until 1 o'clock on hungry stomachs. Oops, talk about privilege we didn't know. So as we started the first pilot of this program, went back to the drawing board and said, how do we strategize? How do we make this work? We had nothing. I had a full-time job, the little savings I had, and said, okay, we'll put something together. Surprisingly, I was walking in a complex and just doing some grocery shopping. And I met, remember that lady, secondhand textbooks? Met her at the spa, and she knew we were running this program. How did it go, Kefilwe? How did the first day go? I tell her, the young people were literally engaged and enthused in all we were sharing. But Catherine, I realized that, we can't run a program without feeding them. And from the goodness of her heart, she said, there you go. Please make sure next week there are some sandwiches for these young students. A gesture of kindness that today, decades later, I still will never forget. Because on this journey of entrepreneurship, it's not the big organizations who say yes to you. It's the ones who say yes to you when it is just an idea. It is just a concept. They are the ones who bet on you. And this is Catherine here today, who bet on us when it was just an idea. The concept and using the power of social media has also been very strategic in our business journey as young entrepreneurs. We would share this beautiful work on platforms like Facebook at that time, and people would take note of what we were doing. We're not doing it to trend or get the followers. We're doing it with the intention of, can we get the right decision makers to see this work? You can never be a best-kept secret. And I see it all these years as I coach individuals who at times are afraid. They're afraid of platforms like LinkedIn and all, and they're like, I don't want people to know what it is that I'm doing. But if you're guided by impact, if you're guided by a purpose and a vision that is bigger than yourself, each and every one of these platforms available, you will use them. So we used the platforms. And one day, a gentleman from one of the biggest universities in South Africa, UNISA, saw this work and said, not only do young people need this work, we have senior lecturers that need to be developed in how they present and how they communicate. There's a need for your work within the academic space. So that then propelled us to do the work that we do with some of the leading JSE-listed organizations. UNISA as an institution is really one of our first corporate clients who said, we see value in this work, and today we're training a lot of their academics, their flagship leadership programs, because they are understanding this gap within human development. At the core of this, and how did it all propel and move forward, I say, it is really about understanding the power of showing up, whichever opportunity you are given. Tata and I were so intentional, and it's something that I say in any program I'm facilitating, you never know who's in the room. Professionals many times, and I know in this room, some of you are working or you run your own businesses. You've been doing it for a long time. And along the journey, we can get complacent. We can think, I have arrived. And it's been at the forefront of my unstoppable journey, knowing that you never arrive. There is always so much to learn along the journey. And when you have that open mindset, that growth mindset that Carol Dweck speaks about, instead of a fixed mindset, people take note of what you do. Years later, this is the portfolio of organizations that we work with on a daily basis, helping them with their leaders, their young graduates who are entering the world of work, and at times even at executive level, where your CEOs and CFOs have the technical skill set to lead, but they lack the human skills, the ability to lead with psychological safety, empathy, building high-performance teams. And this is what my team and I do on a daily basis. So, what has been the driving force of our work in human development? Impact. The driving force for my unstoppable journey? Impact. To each and every one of you, you have been intentional. The hours you've put forward to invest, where many could be home watching Netflix, where many straight after work go and chill. You have committed to be here. And I'm trusting that each and every one of you, there's a bigger purpose. There's a bigger purpose to why you are here. Why on a monthly basis, weekly basis, you are engaging with your course material and your subject. Remember your why. And let your why be the driving force to how you show up, the depth of excellence you put in the work that you deliver. I shared with you the starting point of our journey. And right now, it's true, we are a decade in the journey. I left full-time employment, and this year in July, I celebrate 10 years of bravery. Because it takes a lot. It really does. It takes a lot to leave the comfort of a great job and say, this is the path that I'm going to follow. My mother thought I was crazy when I said I'm leaving one of the biggest telecommunications company to follow this path. But this was the driving force. It was all about impact. I'd like to share with you just briefly a short video that brings to the forefront one of the flagship programs that we run with the largest bank in Africa.
For over 3 years, the Basadi Development Program has impacted more than 600 Black women entrepreneurs across 35 industries nationwide. The program equips entrepreneurs with vital knowledge, skills, and resources to build thriving, resilient businesses. South Africa's unemployment crisis calls for bold entrepreneurial leadership, and the Basadi Development Program has risen to the challenge. Our entrepreneurs created over 400 jobs, and over 70% of our alumni are achieving remarkable revenue and business growth in the past 12 months. In addition to the core program, Basadi hosts quarterly masterclasses featuring some of the renowned top industry leaders. To further support business growth, the delegates participate in a business pitch competition where they present their business offerings in hopes of winning grant funding sponsored by Standard Bank. Over 4 million rand in grant funding has been awarded to outstanding entrepreneurs, giving them the resources to grow their businesses.
I just want to thank the team, especially the Giving Wings. They remind you something that is going to build you. There is no need for them to do that. So I'm very thankful. I mean, the journey, it was worth it, and I don't regret it. Till the last day of me giving birth until my baby is 2 months. So it's been great. I was pregnant by then while busy with the program. And then there was a time when I felt like, I'm a bit tired, but I never missed Saturday classes,
This program is really unique. It's a cream of the crop.
I was at a point where I was ready to give up, but being part of the program, it really gave me and propelled me and ignited that fire for me to continue going.
So this program is one of our flagship programs as Standard Bank. We pride ourselves with the work that has been done over the years.
Our commitment goes beyond women development. We are passionate about youth entrepreneurship, and through our masterclasses, we've been intentional with featuring experts in various industries to guide and teach our young entrepreneurs about entrepreneurship. We are Giving Wings, and we drive excellence in human development.
Thank you for that. So that's really a glimpse of one of our very impactful programs, particularly eradicating the high unemployment rate in our country. And how do we also build resilient businesses and entrepreneurs? And we do that with the Basadi Development Program, and truly grateful to Standard Bank for partnering with us on this journey and seeing how we can do a national reach with the work that we do. So I've shared with you a glimpse of the journey, what it's taken from that young lady who comes from Rustenburg with big vision and dreams. But this journey has not been all rosy. It has had, of course, it's had its challenges. And what are the challenges? The challenges have come from self-doubt, that imposter syndrome at times. And I know it's something that's so prevalent amongst the human experience, where you're finding yourself in spaces and saying, am I worthy to be here? And how have I been able to eradicate the self-doubt is by having that meeting with self At times getting up in the morning, and yes, cash flow is a challenge in running a business. You have staff requirements. But if you look at yourself in the mirror and say you can do it, and it's really around affirming yourself before you're expecting the world to affirm you, is how I've dealt with the challenge of self-doubt. Second has been the rejection. Yes, there have been many no's. They have been no's. And at times what I've learned with rejection is to never personalize it. Sitting in this room, many of you have gone in for those job interviews. And yes, you received that rejection letter. But in the midst of that rejection letter, you keep going. You learn the lesson. So many times we are defined by the failures and that it didn't go well, and you personalize it. And you start saying, they don't like me. My line manager doesn't like me. He's always had a problem with me. But let's go back to the drawing board. Were you prepared? Did you do what is required of you and go above and beyond? So that's what I've taken along the journey. With every rejection and every no, it has inspired me to keep moving, to be resilient, to be unstoppable in this journey. The third challenge has been fear. And you know, fear, just a show of hands in this room, how many of you think fear is the enemy? Oh my goodness, quite a couple. You know what I've learned with fear? Fear is a companion with you on this journey of life. It's with you along the journey. If you're a little bit nervous, if you're a little bit fearful, know you are at the right place. Even coming here today, irrespective of the years that I've been speaking, I've been a bit nervous. And that shows I'm still on the right path. I'm not comfortable. I'm not complacent. So fear, in my perspective, is your companion on this journey of life. But remember, this companion has a purpose. And what the companion fear wants you to do is to stop. Fear finds its greatest joy when you do nothing. It's there to caution you. And it is about you deciphering whether you are going to allow fear to be in the driver's seat of your life or to be in the back seat as a companion. In my decade of experience working with a number of professionals, I see too often in the corporate world, in the business world, where people are led by fear. Fear is dictating to them, don't apply for that role. You meet 60% of that criteria. Don't be an entrepreneur. There are already so many entrepreneurs in the ecosystem. Or there are all these failure statistics about entrepreneurship where 50% of businesses don't even make it past the 5-year mark. It's time we face that fear head on. And at times even overriding things like fear is preparation. The more prepared you are, the more confident you will be. As a public speaking coach, I watch at times individuals who are fearful of standing in front of an audience. This is a learned skill. The more you do it, the more you place yourself in uncomfortable situations, the better you'll be at it. And that requires preparation. There's a quote I love from Oprah Winfrey, who says, nothing in life happens by luck. And if she is to define luck, she says luck is preparation meeting the moment of opportunity. How many of you in this room are looking for your next opportunity? Just to show that, whoa, what quite a couple of them. Wow, I love it. What are you doing with the preparation work? What's the preparation work that you're doing? That's why you're here. That's why you're here. I love it. That was so smart. That was so smart. What's your name? Amanda. Okay, Amanda, we've got a prize from you. Give it, Clinton, you'll give it to her afterwards. You'll give it to her afterwards. Okay. Yeah, thank you for that, Amanda. Thank you for that. So that's why you're here. The credentials, because that's what education does. It brings forward the credentials that you bring forward, and that's the preparation work. And along the journey, how have I been able to override these challenges that I still face on a continuous basis? And that is what I want to introduce to each and every one of you today, which is my companion and friend who has been with me on this journey, and that is Brave. brave, ladies and gentlemen, master students, has helped me overcome the challenges that come with the unstoppable journey. And what is brave? Brave is the BFF. Brave has taught me, and it's an acronym that I'd love to leave you with today, is really around overriding the challenges on this journey. How does one become unstoppable? Build the support network. The network is everything. Dr. Leroux is in my network, in my community. Because as the African saying says, "Motho ke motho ka batho." I am because you are. When you rise and another person, you're able to lift them up, it trickles. Look at the work that we've been able to do and the many of entrepreneurs that we've been able to rise above as we take part in this journey. So build the support network. If you want to grow in your career, who's your mentor? Who's your coach? Who's your sponsor? Those of you who are in the corporate world. Who's the one who sits in influential meetings and are decision makers that can speak on behalf of you and can recommend you? Who do you have in your network? COVID-19 pandemic was quite dire and disconnecting us as individuals. Now more than ever do we need to be intentional about building our networks. Every week, every second week, who are you having coffee with? Whether it's a 30-minute coffee on Teams and it's like, let's connect. How are you doing? What is happening in your world? Is there any help that you need? How can we collaborate? No isolation, community. Build your support network. Reframe the criticism. The criticism that at times comes on this human journey. And at times the biggest critic is ourselves. We can be our greatest critics. When we say, I'm not worthy, I'm doing my master's, really let me downplay it there at the office like they mustn't know I'm doing my master's. I am doing my master's. And the study that I read, and this is what the theory says and all. So yesterday we were in a meeting and our client, they was talking about the theory of change. So the last time I studied was 2018 when I did my master's. Because I'm an entrepreneur in business, in the meeting I had to Google, Tata, what is the theory of change? But hint, I'm an MBA graduate. So use it, please. Utilize those insights that you are bringing forward in your studies. And literally, let's stop criticizing ourselves. The world alone can be so challenging. The last thing you need is for you to beat yourself up every single day. You're doing the best you can with what you have and what you know. When those results come from your assessments, and yes, I know the academic journey. Yes. Let's talk about it. Yes, the academic journey can leave you so despondent. The supervisor's criticism can leave you thinking, am I at the right place or am I the weakest link here? Right? But how do you take it and use it to shape you? My team knows I'm a stickler for attention for detail. And how did I build that skill set? It's after receiving a 0 for research methodology here at Tux. Yes, 0. Because the margins weren't aligned. There was indenting that was wrong. And that, you know it, my son. you know it. Okay, so you're shaming me. Yes, you're shaming with my 0. Okay. You can relate. Okay. Like, ouch. But that 0 was the experience today. We've got editors in our team. We've got proofwriters. Everything is on point because that's how pedantic we are about excellence. I needed this experience here. I needed it and I'm grateful for it. So how do you reframe your criticism? How do you take every experience as a learning opportunity and say, how can I take the learning here to be better next time? That's how you reframe the criticism. And then you accept failure as a learning opportunity. What can I learn from this moment and this experience? Brave has taught me to be vision focused, no matter what is happening around you. And I remember the days when I used to be at the Marensky Library there, the late nights. My vision was always on the dream, the opportunity to travel, see the world, make an impact in people's lives. And as you travel this journey in your studies and in your careers, remember the vision. Remember your why. Let that ground you and let that help you to galvanize and build that bravery on this journey. And then engage in self-care. You know, everyone, there's so much happening in this world. We're pursuing the next goal, the next opportunity, the next career move. But how many times do we actually take time out to actually just care for ourselves? Fill your cup up. Go for that walk. Exercise. Spa treatment there. Those who are mothers in the room, getting help. Not saying I'll be superwoman. I will study, cook, clean. You can't. You can't. If you're going to be at your optimum best, we need to take care of ourselves. Are you eating right? Driving here today with my team member, Clinton, I'm like, Clinton, I'm a bit stiff, you know? And he's like, why? Because I'm like, I train every morning, 7 o'clock, I'm at the gym. It's a non-negotiable. Because life can be so stressful and hectic. And if we don't take care of this vessel that we are gifted at, we are doing ourselves a disservice. So I just want to remind you, let's take care of ourselves, team, you know? Let's take care of ourselves. Let's celebrate as well the big wins. You know, after every assessment or test or submission, how do you gift yourself? Because sometimes the gift is not going to come from the world. The gift needs to come from you. You need to celebrate yourself. So I'm almost at the end of my talk. And having applied the lessons and insights from Brave, my mascot, on this journey of life with me, on my unstoppable journey, I sit back this year alone, and even last year, we celebrated our 10-year journey of giving wings. And this year, it's a 10-year journey of really, I'm calling it my year of being brave, because it's 10 years of being an entrepreneur. I haven't done this on my own. I work with a phenomenal team, a team that have come to understand my attention to detail, a team that has come to understand that as entrepreneurs and with the caliber of organizations that we work with, we have to show up differently. And I'm deeply grateful for that. Because as I've said earlier on, motuki motukabato, I stand here as one, as Maya Angelou says, but I come as 10,000. And this is the team that is with us on this journey. Last year, I said to you that, you know, celebrating milestones is also important for me. And we celebrated our 10th year journey in business as well. Because I have to take time out to smell the roses. It's very important. My hope for all of you, when you graduate with your master's degrees, please throw a party, a lunch, a celebration. Yes, 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 it's needed. A trip. Gift yourself and say, well done, you did it, eh? I'll be expecting invitations to those masters celebrations, eh? So in closing, I want to leave this quote for each and every one of you by Melissa Tumino, who says, bravery is the ability to look fear and hurt in the face and say, move aside, you are in the way. My question to each and every one of you today is, what is in your way? What is holding you back from pursuing the highest expression of your life? Identify it. Be committed to do the work, to eradicate that blockage that could be holding you back. Move it out of the way. Because within each and every one of you, I want to remind you this. You are unstoppable. Thank you.